Hi everyone and welcome to Bonnie Astrology. Today I'm going to be discussing the full moon in Libra happening on the 1st or the 2nd of April, depending on where you are in the world and of course what it means for your zodiac sign. As always, if you do enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up to let me know that you like it. Subscribe to the channel for regular astrology content and horoscopes from me. And if you want to visit my website or any of my other astrological socials, they're all listed in the description box below. So let's have a look at this full moon in Libra. This full moon is going to be happening at 12 degrees of Libra, and that means that those who are most affected and impacted by this full moon are going to be those who have natal placements or angles at 11, 12, or 13 degrees of Libra, but also Aries, also Cancer, and also Capricorn. And because of the square to Jupiter that this full moon is forming, we can actually extend that looking at about 14, 15, 16 degrees of the cardinals as well. So Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn placements 11 through to about 16 are really going to be feeling this full moon. Now, the full moon is, as I say, in this square to Jupiter, which means that it is forming a T square with Jupiter, where Jupiter is squaring both the Sun in Aries and the moon in Libra. And it's a cardinal T square, which can bring tension. And the purpose of this tension is productivity, to do something productive. It's bringing awareness to what we need to do, what we need to change. And in terms of doing the thing, April is very much the month for that. We have so much energy in Aries, which is very self-focused. It's very driven. It's very entrepreneurial. It is very focused on its own needs, wants, and desires. And sometimes Aries energy is about doing first and thinking later. Libra energy, not so much. And this Libra energy is a check-in point for where things can get out of balance or things have got out of balance. So we have this need for change. We have this need to push forward. April could absolutely go by in the blink of an eye because we have so much forward moving energy in the skies and so much forward moving energy within ourselves where we want to make things happen. But as I say, with so much being in Aries and so much focus being on the self and our own personal wants, needs, and desires, this full moon comes in as a counterbalance to that and puts the focus on relationships. So a full moon in Libra puts our focus on our connections, our relationships to other people, how we relate to other people. And it's very likely with this full moon that there is some relationship in your life that is coming into the spotlight. Now, that could be your spouse, that could be your partner, that could be a family member, that could be a co-worker, it could be a best friend. But there is very likely some kind of dynamic that is being illuminated under this full moon, and you can't ignore it. You can't ignore this dynamic. For whatever reason, it's coming up to teach you something. And it's teaching you something about fairness, cooperation, balance, integrity, and it's loud. When we have a full moon in square to Jupiter, it's very loud. Jupiter tends to amplify the energy of whatever it touches. And with it being in a square to this full moon, that energy can be very loud in a way that is not necessarily the most comfortable. It's certainly not subtle. There's nothing subtle about this full moon. The square to Jupiter, it's going to amplify your emotions about a person, your emotions about a particular dynamic in your life. It's going to amplify your reactions, especially in a very sensitive sign like Cancer. Jupiter is very focused on increasing its safety, increasing its security. And so if you feel that a relationship is threatened, that a relationship is threatening, that a dynamic is threatening, that something could be throwing off your sense of security and safety, this full moon can absolutely amplify that dynamic because something needs to change or something needs to be voiced, something needs to be said. You can't ignore the feelings of this, but it can certainly be that with it being in such an exaggerative sign such as Jupiter or planet such as Jupiter, you can really feel as though something is being overdone. So you're maybe giving too much to your relationship. You're maybe giving too much attention to your relationship. You're maybe trying your best to make something work that just simply can't. You're maybe the one doing all the work, or similarly, it may be highlighted to you that someone feels as though you are not doing enough and that they're doing everything. It can really highlight that balancing act that comes up with Libra. Libra wants diplomacy, it wants fairness, justice, and with that square to Jupiter, if that is very much off balance, it will be highlighted at the time of this full moon. To cut a long story short, you cannot ignore your feelings about a particular relationship or a dynamic. It's highlighting our relationships, our connections, how we look after them, how we nurture them, what role we play within them. And it can absolutely be a turning point in how to find a balance or cooperation with another person to work things out. But sometimes they have to be amplified in order for us to be aware of them. There can be people that are not aware of what they're doing within a connection that is disrupting another person, and they can't be aware of it until they're told in some cases. And you might be that person, or you might be the person that is trying to cooperate and negotiate with somebody else. So, with this woman in Libra, there's certainly going to be at least one key relationship or just the general energy about how you relate to other people being highlighted at this time. Now, there is a sense, though, with this full moon that something could be illuminated that is maybe quite secretive or something that is quite difficult to discuss or quite difficult to acknowledge. And that is because the dispositor of this full moon, Venus, which is very happy in Taurus, very comfortable in Taurus, is in a square to Pluto in Aquarius. When we see Venus Pluto squares, they can trigger jealousy, suspicion, power struggles. It can absolutely push for that transformation, but you might internally be grappling with maybe envy, jealousy, insecurity, paranoia, suspicion about another person in your life. It can absolutely amplify the need to work through something that is quite tricky and quite difficult to look at. But this woman says that you have to look at it because if you ignore it, if you push it into the shadows, it will still manifest as something, but it might manifest as something really quite destructive. This full moon can be an opportunity to negotiate, to compromise, to find balance, to seek equilibrium in a relationship. That Venus Pluto square, though, if you push those feelings of jealousy and possessiveness and the need to control, if you push them down, they will come up in ways that are not productive, not healthy. Maybe you're possibly asking too much of another person, or maybe you are letting your own insecurities and triggers affect how you relate to another person. And, in some cases, that can manifest legally. That can manifest as legal matters with this being in Libra and Jupiter being in the mix. So, if you're involved in a legal case, this full moon might be the time that it's really amplified. Big events come to the surface, information comes to the surface. Full moons can be times of closure, so wrapping up a legal matter, wrapping up some sort of long overdue legal process. Especially because we've had so many retrogrades over the last few months, it can be a time where you start to feel things really moving forward with some kind of legal matter or some kind of a relationship matter. And it can also bring secretiveness and secrets to the fore because that Venus-Pluto square can be about secretive relationships, secret feelings, internal struggles, jealousy, envy. There can be something about this full moon that is not the easiest thing to look at for some people, depending on how it's happening with your chart. If you have natal factors at, say, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the fixed signs, so Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, or Aquarius, you could be grappling with something secretive at this time, something could come out that you weren't aware of, or you could be grappling with your own internal secret feelings. And with this full moon, it does offer this chance to look at and release those things so that they're not weighing as heavy on you. And that can just be through writing it down, that can be talking through a trusted friend, acknowledging something difficult so that it isn't inside of you and controlling you can be a big theme with this full moon. It is about addressing relationship matters, but some of these are not necessarily the easiest to look at with that Venus Pluto square. The thing that I really like about this full moon in Libra is that the two benefics, Venus and Jupiter, are in signs that they love to be in. Venus is domicile in Taurus, Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. So there is a lot of benefic energy happening in the skies. Both planets are direct, they're functioning well. There is that intensity with the square to Pluto from Venus and the intensity of that square from Jupiter to the full moon. But it really feels as though looking at difficult dynamics, looking at difficult relationships, looking at relationship patterns at this time can be very fruitful and very helpful, and it can bring a lot of wisdom. And with Jupiter being in Cancer, it can absolutely amplify things so that they can change for the better. Jupiter is known as the great benefic, yes, but you can actually see, or at least I see as an astrologer, sometimes Jupiter going over a point or an angle can amplify the problems so that you can do better in future. So it's not always the easiest, here you go, this is everything you want on a platter. Sometimes it can really amplify what's not working so that you can figure it out, so that you can get that wisdom. Jupiter is a teaching energy. You can get that wisdom, you can get that awareness that you need. You can change your philosophy, you can change your beliefs so that you can connect with something that makes more sense for you, something that can grow, something that can help you develop in a way that is expansive and hopeful and joyful. And it's it can sometimes manifest in different ways that we don't expect with astrology, but it can absolutely amplify something so that it can change for the better. So if you are feeling called to maybe step away from a relationship at this time, it can be for the best for sure. If you are looking to negotiate in a relationship, things can actually go better than you think. This can be a time, just globally speaking, where it's really putting the spotlight on relationships and partnerships, allyships, possibly globally between different countries. It can be highlighting negotiations, agreements, conflict resolution, would be a positive manifestation of a full moon in Libra. As always, I'm going to pull a tarot card for this full moon in Libra and see what we get, what the energy is. It really feels like it is amplifying a key relationship or relationship dynamic that may have something brewing beneath the surface that is quite toxic, something that feels difficult to acknowledge, something that feels difficult to express. And that can be really challenging in relationship dynamics. If you're experiencing inner jealousy, envy, possessiveness, fear of abandonment, if you're having these shadowy feelings, the more that you stuff them down, the more they can run the show and interfere in unhealthy ways. Sometimes with a full moon, the acknowledgement part is key to overcoming it and addressing it because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. And so with this full moon, if you are having feelings that are quite difficult to express, finding a safe place to express them, a person to express them to that is safe, um, just journaling, writing it down in a way that says it, because sometimes when you put it out there, it stops having power over you. A Venus square Pluto, it can be where these things that you keep secret, that you keep buried, they have power over you if you're trying to hide them. Secrets have power over you in a lot of cases. So even if it's just something like writing them down, expressing it to a close friend can really help take the power back and help you change what you have acknowledged. So let's get a tarot card for this full moon in Libra. Six of Cups. This is really cute. Um, a fascinating card, I have to say, because the Six of Cups to me, and I think to most tarot readers, represents nostalgia, it represents the past, and we just simply don't have that energy at the moment in terms of retrogrades. There's no retrogrades that are causing us to look back, that are causing us to move backwards or reconnect with the past in some way. But a lot of the time, this card does represent reconciliation. So that can be reconciliation with someone that is not part of the past, someone that is very much in your present. It can be about reconciling your needs and another person's needs, reconciling your beliefs and another person's beliefs, coming together, sharing, connecting, reconnecting, finding harmony, finding compromise. Jupiter in Cancer is a very homely energy and it is very focused on close connections and enjoying close relationships that do make us feel safe and secure. So perhaps with this full moon being in Libra, you can reconnect with another person in your life where there has been conflict, there has been difficulty, finding what you have in common with the Six of Cups rather than the differences being exaggerated, I suppose, with this one. But it is about reconciliation and connecting with another person. And maybe that's something that we're seeing, globally. Perhaps reconciliation energy between different people, different countries, different, you know, Full moon in Libra is a great one for praying for peace. So with this particular card, I feel as though connecting with another person, it can actually also very much bring to the fore soulful relationships where you're meant to connect in this life to learn something from someone else. Soulmates. Full moon in Libra does highlight relationships, so it could be a time of meeting someone significant, reconnecting with someone significant, and feeling protective or, in some cases, as I say, possessive over another person as well. The Six of Cups is actually Scorpio energy, and Scorpios are notoriously possessive, jealous, secretive, which is what is manifesting from that Venus-Pluto square. So it can absolutely be a time to focus on your dynamics and see what is coming up for you with another person and what that represents for you. And also what the old story is. If the Six of Cups is an energy of the past, Venus square Pluto can really show you your patterns in relationships. It can really show you fear of intimacy, fear of connection, jealousy, possessiveness. You've heard it all before in this video so far, but it can absolutely highlight maybe a pattern that's in your life that you would like to change at the time of this full moon as well. So that is what I have for the full moon in Libra. I hope you have a great full moon. Timestamps are listed below for your zodiac sign. As always, I suggest that you watch the rising sign for the most accurate astrology predictions. That is what I have for you. Talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Aries, welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Libra. Aries, this full moon is happening in your seventh house of relationships. So for you, more than anybody, Aries, this full moon can be highlighting a key partnership or relationship in your life. And this can look quite different for each of you. But this could be for some of you that a current relationship in your life is being elevated. So maybe you are meeting someone significant. Maybe you are formalizing a relationship. You're going official. You're moving in together. That could absolutely be possible with Jupiter here in the fourth. It could be that you're getting engaged, you're getting married, or your relationship is changing and expanding in some way with a full moon in the seventh house, Aries. That can also be for some of you that this full moon is signaling an ending of a relationship. Some relationship in your life could be released. You might be letting go of a person, or you may be forgiving a person from the past. And this full moon can act as a point of release of a connection. Now, what's interesting about this is that this full moon is represented by Venus in Taurus in your second house. So, money may be on your mind when it comes to a key partnership. Your financial situation, your partner's financial situation could be discussed at this time. You might be having discussions with a partner about money, with a partner about values, or you might just be thinking generally when it comes to what you want in a relationship, Aries, what you need from a relationship, what type of values you want that person to have, what kind of financial situation would suit you best in terms of a partnership, some sort of evaluation of values, of finances, of the material, even when it comes to a relationship. Now, because there is this T square with Jupiter in your fourth house, I think for a lot of you, this can be where you are expanding a living situation, you're moving, and maybe you're expanding your family. And this is about balancing what's going on with your home, your family life, and also you and a partnership. So if you're in a relationship, maybe you're considering moving and one of you wants to be closer to their family, or you're discussing what type of house you want or how much you're willing to spend on a house, or you're trying to balance your own needs, your time, your personal investments with your time with a partner and also your time with your family. So for a lot of you Aries, this is a very dynamic one. It may be that you are looking at your relationships through the lens of money, values, finances, and that might be as well with the second house that you are giving a gift to a partner, or a partner is giving a gift to you. But it does seem to be that family and a living situation or relationships with your relationships with your family or your partner's relationships with your family are very much at the fore at this time. Let's get you a tarot card, Aries, and see what comes up for you. We have the High Priestess. This is interesting because Mars is still in Pisces for you at the time of this full moon. Mars is going to be entering your sign in April, but for now, you're really being guided by your intuition. You're really being guided by your intuition, your work behind the scenes, what you feel intuitively needs to happen. You might be having very vivid dreams, dreams with a lot of meaning. You could be getting very clear insights when it comes to meditation, when it comes to reflection, and when it comes to your sleep, Aries. So this could represent a person in your life, maybe a Pisces sun, moon, or rising, Scorpio sun, moon, or rising. Cancer, sun, moon, or rising. I associate the high priestess with the water signs. It's typically moon in Scorpio, so you could be dealing with a moon in Scorpio person, but it tends to come up at a time, Aries, where something has been veiled or something has been hidden. And I think with Mars and Pisces for you, this may be something you've hidden from yourself. Maybe it's a want or a desire or a need when it comes to connection. Maybe it's a secretive attraction that needs to be addressed at this time. But either way, following your intuition seems to be the way to go. That's what I have for you, Aries, and I will talk to you soon. Hi, Taurus. Welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Libra. Taurus, this full moon is happening in your sixth house, and the dispositor is Venus in your first house. So, the first house is the physical body, and the sixth house is how we take care of it. So, for a lot of you, Taurus, this looks like a full moon where you are really reflecting on how you take care of your physical body. So, this full moon might be pushing you to join a gym, take up a particular form of exercise. You might be meeting some sort of accomplishment, Taurus, at this time when it comes to fitness and health and well-being. You could be engaging in a sport, a competition, perhaps. It feels as though you could be very focused on how you're taking care of your body. So, as I say, the exercise or the sport that you do, but also potentially what you're eating, what you're ingesting. And the key here is about balance with Libra. So you're looking to balance your diet or you're looking to balance your exercise and fitness with rest because, if you're going for a fitness goal, so much of your result actually depends on your rest and your recovery. That is actually part of getting fitter and getting healthier is the rest and recovery part. And we have so much in your 12th house, Taurus, that maybe you are feeling a little bit tired. Maybe you're feeling like you need more rest, more downtime, more sleep. But at the same time, sometimes you have to use energy to get energy. And it looks like you're trying to balance what you do on a daily basis when it comes to fitness, health, well-being, moving your body. That could just be taking walks for some of you, getting your steps in, yoga, stretching, and you're trying to balance that with resting, downtime, sleep, the type of rest that you get, and how productive it actually is for you. So, looking at your routines and your well being, Taurus, it seems at the time of this full moon that something is being illuminated to you when it comes to health. So, if something's coming up with your body at this time, some kind of symptom, some sort of physical manifestation, Taurus, pay attention because Venus is in your first house. Now, it might also be a time where if you are going to the gym or you're exercising or you're hiking or whatever it is that you do for exercise and well-being, Taurus, with Venus in the first house, you might find really, really nice athleisure wear, sportswear, gym wear. You might find things that make you look really good, that are in your color palette. Maybe pink. Maybe you find that you're getting the right trainers for your run, or you are maybe catching a lot of attention when you're out doing your walk or you're at the gym. Venus in the first house is really where you look your best, you feel your best, you get a lot of compliments. And for some of you, these compliments could be coming from your coworkers or your employees. Full moons in the sixth house can also be job changes. You could be wrapping up a project within your work, something that you've put a lot of your own personal time and effort and your personal talents into. So you could be wrapping up a work project. Things could be quite busy at work with the full moon in the sixth house. Someone could be leaving your job. Something could be illuminated pertaining to your job. And it could also be that maybe you find that there's a little bit of tension between you and someone who is higher up, or a little bit of tension with you and your reputation. Maybe something doesn't quite land the way that you want it to. with that Venus Pluto square. But for the most part, Taurus, it looks as though work is being illuminated and health is being illuminated. But I'm leaning towards health for you. It really feels as though this is to do with your physical body, how you take care of yourself, and how you show up for yourself, Taurus. So pay attention to what's coming up for you health wise at the time of this full moon. It could be illuminating what you need to change. With that square to Jupiter in the third house, it's possible that you're getting too much information. This could be where you are doom scrolling about a particular symptom and then you convince yourself that you have it with Jupiter in the third, so much information out there on the internet. You could find that things that are said at work or your workplace, within your workplace, could get blown out of all proportion with that square to Jupiter in the third as well. So be mindful about what information you're getting. It could be over exaggerated, over inflated, or over emotional, Taurus. Let's get you a tarot card for this full moon. The Three of Wands, you're casting your eye on the new horizons, Taurus. I think with this Three of Wands, you are opening up to new possibilities. Maybe when it comes to your work, maybe when it comes to your day-to-day routines, you're maybe looking for something new. You're looking to expand upon your usual routines to incorporate something new. You're excited about change, you're excited about the future, and you're very much looking forward, especially with so much being, well, with everything being direct this month, Taurus, you might start to feel as though things are really starting to move forward in ways that are new and exciting. That is what I have for you, and I will talk to you soon. Hi, Gemini. Welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Libra. Gemini, this full moon is lighting up your fifth house. Now, the fifth house is to do with your love life. And the dispositor, Venus, is over here in your secretive 12th house. So there could be some sort of secrets coming out when it comes to your romantic world. Now, that could be that a secret attraction is revealed. So maybe you learn that someone has feelings for you, which with Venus being domicile in Taurus may very well be a good thing. It could also be that you're revealing your feelings for somebody else. It could be that a secret relationship is revealed at this time with this full moon being in the fifth house. Or it could also be that if a romance is developing in your life, you're choosing to keep it quiet. You're not wanting to make it public. You're not wanting to display it for whatever reason. Maybe because of other people's opinions with that square to Pluto in the ninth. Maybe there are great differences between you and the person that you're dating, and you just want to let it develop organically before involving anybody else, Gemini. But it could be that secrets are revealed pertaining to your romantic life. It might also be that you're going through some sort of ending when it comes to your romantic life. The 12th house is also about endings. And again, with Venus being in Taurus, it's likely for the best if it is. Now, the fifth house is also to do with your children if you have them. So, if you have children or you're pregnant or you're due to give birth, this full moon highlights those matters. Some of you could find out you're pregnant unexpectedly with Venus here in Taurus, especially because Uranus is crossing into your first house in April. That can be unexpected changes when it comes to your physical body. So, for some of you, this could be a pregnancy out of nowhere that you didn't see coming, or a pregnancy that you're keeping secret. For some of you, it could also be that there are secrets coming out pertaining to your children. And it doesn't have to be anything serious, but it could just be that maybe they're struggling with something when it comes to education, or if they're traveling, or there's something that they've not quite felt ready to tell you yet or discuss with you yet, Gemini, and this full moon might bring it up. When it comes to your connections generally, so friendships, groups, and teams, or the people that you're dating, or even, as I said earlier, your children, you're looking at it through the lens of financial investment. Are you overspending on your kids? Are you underspending on something that you are working on creatively? Because the fifth house is also what you do for fun. But I think for most of you, you're looking at whether or not you're overspending, spending too much money on dating, or spending too much money on your hobbies, or spending too much money on your children. Jupiter going through the second house tends to be a really positive time financially, Gemini, but it can also be where you feel as though the money will never run out, so you're spending, spending, spending. That can be something that comes up at the time of this full moon as well. You realize that maybe you have been spending a little bit too much on certain things. Maybe even for some of you with the fifth house, gambling, you might need to address something when it comes to gambling, Gemini, if that applies to you. Let's get you a tarot card and see what comes through for you. You got the Nine of Swords and Justice. I think some of you are anxious about doing the right thing. Justice is a Libra card, so some of you are anxious about doing the right thing when it comes to a romantic connection. Some of you are anxious about doing the right thing when it comes to your children. Maybe you're looking at this through the lens of values. Your values are expanding. They're very important to you with Jupiter going through the second. What matters to you, what is worth it to you. You could be very anxious with the Nine of Swords about doing what is right or what is fair. So with this full moon, maybe it's illuminating what you need to do in order to be fair and transparent when it comes to your children, or fair and transparent when it comes to your love life as well, Gemini. That is what I have for you, and I will talk to you soon. Hi, Cancer. Welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Libra. Cancer, this full moon is happening in your fourth house. So, this one is highlighting your home. And a full moon in the fourth house can highlight how your home looks, how your home feels, where you're living, who you're living with, what you want to do with the home. So maybe for some of you, this is a time that you are renovating or you're redecorating or you're moving, or there are changes in terms of who's living in your home. And for others of you, this can just simply be that there's more activity happening in the home around the time of this full moon. Venus, the dispositor, is here in the 11th house of social groups and teams and friendships. So maybe you're having some friends over, Cancer, to your home. Maybe you are having a gathering at the home. Maybe there's a family gathering. Maybe there's a lot of people staying in your home at the moment. Maybe it's a very busy place to be. This can be also that because the 11th house rules the future, this can be that you're changing your home dependent on what your future plans are. So maybe you're thinking, actually, I would quite like to live abroad. So we're looking at Pluto in the 8th house and Venus in the 11th, and you're thinking, I might want to remortgage this house, or maybe you're wanting to, yeah, I think for some of you with all this ninth house activity, North Node, Mercury, Mars, you could be thinking of living abroad, or some of you could just be thinking about moving in general. But this is definitely highlighting what's going on for you in the home. So, who's living there, what you're doing with the home, any work that you're doing on the home. You're feeling adventurous, which is why I do think for some of you, this is about moving abroad, or this is about changing your home to fit how you're evolving, how you're growing, your adventure, your curious spirit, Cancer. It's almost as if you just want your home to reflect where you're at the moment. And for some of you, maybe this is about moving in with friends also, or moving into a property or somewhere that has a lot of people or somewhere that has a group. So maybe you're moving into a home with people who are on the same path as you. Shared accommodation for some of you. That's obviously not going to be for all of you. But essentially, Cancer, whatever is going on for you, it's highlighting what's happening within the home or with your family. Something could come up with the family at this time as well, Cancer. And it feels like you may very well be at the forefront of this. So you could be the one who's initiating the changes, or you could be the one who is the person that everyone's looking to when things are changing or transforming within the home. Because of Jupiter being in the middle of this T square. Let's get you a tarot card, Cancer, and see what is coming up for you with this full moon. Definitely matters about home, property, living situation, living arrangements, who you're living with, and how you want your living situation to develop in the future. We have the High Priestess. This is interesting because Aries got this as well. So there is something quite secretive about this full moon. It's almost like a very revealing one, I think, for a lot of people. It illuminates maybe what's been hidden. And I think for you, you're trying to, with the North Node and Pisces in the ninth house, you're trying to trust your intuition when it comes to travel, when it comes to long distances, relocations, that type of thing. Or you're trying to trust your intuition when it comes to how you want to change and transform your home. Maybe you want your home to be a bit more spiritual. You need a place to meditate, you need a place to ground, you need a place to embrace the quiet. If things are quite chaotic at your home place, Cancer. For some of you, the High Priestess could also represent seeing a mystic, seeing a medium, seeing a tarot reader, or having some sort of spiritual service. With Venus, the dispositor, being in that square to Pluto in the eighth house, I think a lot of you are really looking to transform your financial situation. You're looking to transform your world generally, maybe your relationship to your children, or maybe for some of you, your love life. And you could be seeking guidance from someone who can help you with that in a mystical way. That is what I have for you, Cancer, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hi, Leo. Welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Libra. So, Leo, this full moon is happening in your third house. So, this is your local environment. This full moon can highlight your relationship to your neighbors. There can be something happening with a neighbor or within your neighborhood at the time of this full moon, Leo. This can also be about your siblings, if you have them, something coming up with a sibling, with your relationship with a sibling. It can also be cousins, aunts, uncles, extended family can fall under this as well. So maybe they're playing a key role in your full moon story. For others of you, it can be about a car. This full moon can highlight something to do with your car, your commute, how you get around locally. And for others of you, this can be about your mindset. It's really pulling your attention to how you think and how that shapes your reality, particularly with a career context. Leo. So here we have Venus in domicile in the 10th house. It's the dispositor of this full moon in the third. This may be that if you're active on social media, you could get a little bit more publicity at this time. If you're active when it comes to putting your written word out there, this can even be an email that you're having to send that's getting a lot of attention in your workplace, or some sort of speech that you're giving, or a presentation that you're giving, something that gives you a lot of attention, Leo. And just to remind you, we'll talk about this in the April horoscopes, but Uranus is going to leave your 10th house for April for good in your lifetime, most likely, depending on how long you live, but most likely. So your career zone is going to be getting a bit more settled, truthfully, going forward in April. After maybe a few shocks and changes. But with this full moon, it feels as though maybe you have something to communicate. You're displaying your power of communication, you're displaying your verbal skills, you're putting something out there that is getting you a lot of attention and a lot of, I feel for the most part, positive publicity. It could maybe disrupt one relationship. One person might not necessarily agree with what you have to say. Pluto in the seventh house in a square, or maybe you feel as though whatever you're having to put out there, you're concerned maybe about one person in particular's opinion. But for the most part, Leo, it feels as though you're putting something out there that could be very well received when it comes to your career or your public image. It could also be that there's an important communication about career that comes out at this time that you need to know. So information coming to you about your career that you need to know, a, an email, a message, a telephone call, something that gives you information. And it could have been kind of hidden, Leo. Jupiter is here in the 12th house. It's in a T square with the ninth and the third for you. So hidden information can come to the fore. Big developments behind the scenes, growth behind the scenes. Maybe you've been working on something privately for quite a while and now you have to communicate it. It has to be publicized and it's going to get you some attention. Maybe you're wanting to share your experience as well, Leo, with your time alone, your time in isolation, your healing, the work that you've been doing behind the scenes. You're looking to share that with other people. And it can also be that maybe there are secrets or hidden information coming out with people that you live nearby or that you're in communication with. Secrets coming to the fore, Leo. But I do think for most of you, this is about reassessing how you think also. How you think about your career, how you think about being visible, how you think about being seen. Because we have a bit of confusion here with Venus going through the 10th house. This is about when you're really well received publicly. People like you, people like to see you. And that can be a little bit nerve-wracking for you with Pluto, the square to Pluto. It can be that you're worried about what someone might think or say. But for the most part, Venus here is about being well received. And yet you have Jupiter in the 12th, which means for a lot of you, you kind of want to be more low key. You kind of want to work on stuff behind the scenes, spend more time alone. But Bear in mind, within a few months, Jupiter's going to move into your sign and you're really going to get an increase in visibility. And you may feel more extroverted than you have been. So, this full moon is maybe wrapping up a cycle for you where you felt more comfortable behind the scenes or you didn't feel comfortable expressing yourself. But for a lot of you, this is visibility. So, giving a speech, giving a presentation, leading a panel discussion, having a public conversation, going on a podcast. Oop. Your tarot card was the Five of Pentacles. So, this is where you're afraid, I think, of being left out in the cold or being rejected. So, maybe for some of you, you do have a fear of rejection. Venus square Pluto, Pluto being in the seventh house. It's highlighting your fear of connection or your fear of vulnerability or your fear of abandonment or your fear of rejection. And this is something maybe that you're choosing to vocalize at this time instead of letting it fester deep down. That's what I have for you, Leo, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Virgo, welcome to your horoscope for the Libra full moon. Virgo, this full moon is happening in your second house. So this is illuminating your finances. This is the money that you make. This is the money that you spend, what you spend your money on, what you don't spend your money on, how much you're saving, how much you're spending, that type of thing. It really highlights your finances, Virgo. And the dispositor is Venus, which is domicile in Taurus in your ninth house. So, what you may be spending your money on or what you may be budgeting for could very well be travel, vacations, exploring, adventure. It can also be about education. So these may be the things that you're spending money on at the time of this full moon, Virgo. But this full moon is in this T square with the Sun in Aries and Jupiter in the 11th house. So where Jupiter goes, it tends to expand. So maybe for you, Virgo, you have a lot of social events that you could or should attend around the time of this full moon. That could be a case where, as this happens sometimes, maybe you're invited to multiple weddings in a short space of time. And you're thinking, okay, I want to go to these, but I'm going to have to pay for an outfit. I'm going to have to pay for accommodation. I'm going to have to pay for a gift. And you're looking at your financial situation and thinking, how do I make this work? So many things that I have to go to, so many people I have to show up for, and I want to. These look fun, these look exciting, but it's costing money. And you and your partner, if you have one, are looking at it and thinking, how do we budget for this? How do we make this work? It can also be that when it comes to your values, Virgo, your values and what's important to you is being illuminated at this time. And maybe you're finding that you have to look at your friendships and the groups that you're part of and the teams that you're part of, and you're checking to see if you feel you're growing in those connections depending on how comfortable you feel with these people or how aligned you feel with these people. Because Jupiter in the 11th can bring a lot of friendships in, a lot of new social connections. It can bring a lot of opportunities to socialize. But with the square here to the moon in the second and the square to the sun in the eighth, maybe there's something that's a little bit triggering when it comes to your friendship dynamic or a group or a team. And you're having to have a conversation about your values and what is important to you at this time, Virgo. I also feel for you with Venus being in the ninth house and in that square to Pluto in the sixth, there can be some sort of tension when it comes to your coworker or someone that you work with because of your beliefs or because of your opinions or their opinions and their beliefs. There could be some tension going on in the workplace that is greater highlighting what matters to you, or you feel like it maybe you don't want differences to threaten a financial situation. Let's put it like that, Virgo. You don't want your differences with someone else to threaten a financial situation. So just make sure to keep the vibe high when dealing with someone else that you may be working with. Let's get you a tarot card, Virgo. We have the Hanged Man. This is a wait and see energy. This isn't about doing anything drastically. In fact, the Hermit is at the bottom of the deck. So I feel like maybe taking some time to reflect and review on what you want to do with a financial situation or when it comes to expressing your values or what matters to you in a relationship or a connection, take some time to think it through. The Hanged Man I'm noticing here is actually reversed. So you may actually be becoming unstuck because of a change in perspective. That is what I have for you, Virgo, and I will talk to you soon. Libra, welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in your sign. So, Libra, this is your annual full moon and it's putting you very much in the spotlight. So, when we have a full moon in the first house, it's a great time to check in with the self. How you're doing, who you are, what you want, how do you want to look, how do you want to dress, how do you want to approach life. It's your main character moment in your story. And that's an interesting thing to say because we have so much happening for you here in the sector of the other. There's so much activity going on for you when it comes to your relationships, your connections, that this full moon is pulling the energy back to you and asking you what you want. Now, for a lot of you, with Venus being here in the eighth house, the Venus domicile in Taurus in the eighth house, and Venus being your ruler, a lot of you seem to be going through significant physical transformations. So, changing your style, changing your aesthetic, changing how you dress. Some of you could have gone through very significant physical transformations, Libra, and this is being spotlighted at this time. So, or highlighted rather, I'm not sure if that's actually a term, but you're being seen for the changes that you've made physically. So, yes, some of you could absolutely be going through some significant physical transformations. And people are noticing, people are complimenting you, I think, because Venus is domicile in the eighth. So people are saying, you look great, you look good. What have you done? What have you changed? If it isn't obvious, it could also be that maybe with Venus in the eighth house, you're really doing shadow work with love on yourself. Maybe you're trying to approach your past traumas, your patterns with love and with compassion, especially when it comes to your love life with that Venus Pluto square. If you're looking to transform your love life and your relationships, it feels like the inner work that you're doing is showing on your physical body. So people are looking at you, and maybe it's not obvious what you've changed, but your energy is saying something different. Libra. Now, it is in a T square, this full moon with Jupiter in the 10th house. So, for a lot of you, maybe you're going through identity changes when it comes to your career, maybe also when it comes to your relationships. And you could be at a little bit of a crossroads where you're thinking, okay, I want to expand my career this way. These changes are happening for the best, or I want to go in this direction. I want to grow this part of my career. When it comes to career generally, Libra, depending on what your situation is, or actually, regardless of what your situation is, focus on what you want from your career. What do you want to grow? What do you want to do more of? What do you want to feel more of? That can really help you go in the right direction when it comes to pursuing new avenues professionally or when it comes to developing your skills professionally. Really focus on what you want to grow with Jupiter exalted here in the 10th house, how you want to grow professionally, how you want to be seen, how you want to show up to the world. And the more you focus on that, the more it will grow. What you focus on professionally will absolutely grow at this time. So I do feel like for a lot of you, you are very much in the spotlight at this time. And you're trying to balance your own needs, your wants and desires with whatever's happening in your relationships, commitments with Saturn here. Maybe some of you are going through separations, divorces. Maybe some of you are settling into commitments, you're deepening relationships. And there's so much focus there on your connections that this is bringing the attention back to you and it's saying, what do you want? How do you want to feel? How do you want to show up? How do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And it's asking you not to lose yourself in your connections or even lose yourself in your career. It's very much bringing the focus back to you, Libra. Let's get you a tarot card and see what comes up for you. We have the Ten of Pentacles. This is beautiful for career energy. This can be promotion. This can be, for some of you, inheritance, actually, with Venus being in the eighth house, receiving an inheritance, benefiting from somebody else's resources, financially, emotionally, materially. But 10th house being activated here, some of you could be getting promotion, you could be graduating, you could be getting recognition, you could be more visible, more public, and really working on your legacy that you want to leave behind, Libra. That's what I have for you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hi, Scorpio. Welcome to your horoscope for the Libra full moon. So, Scorpio, 12th house activation here. This full moon is quite a It is quite an introspective one for you. The 12th house is behind your ascendant, so it rules behind the scenes for you. This is about secrecy, privacy. It's about your dream world, the sleep that you're getting, the rest that you're having, the meditations that you're doing. This can be a very illuminating time for you, Scorpio, but in an inner way. So dreams could be very profound. Meditations could be very insightful. Therapy could be very insightful. Doing the inner work could be very insightful. You could be having a revelation when it comes to your mental health, your emotional health, and how it's connected to your physical health, your physical body, the way that you take care of yourself, the exercise that you do, and the foods that you eat, what you do on a daily basis. We have this need for a balance here between your emotional, mental health and your physical well-being and your physical health. So for a lot of you, Scorpio, yes, this full moon could absolutely illuminate something that you need to know when it comes to your health and well-being, both emotionally and physically. And I think even though it's a square to Jupiter, which is kind of tense and kind of overdoing it, it can really help you see the bigger perspective. It can help you get an overview of what you need to change mind, body, and soul. And maybe for some of you, this means that you need to travel, you need to take a bit of time to yourself. Maybe some of you are taking a vacation to a distant land, planning a vacation to a distant land. Maybe you're there at the moment. And this full moon is bringing all kinds of downloads because you have that space to look at things from a different perspective. Some people believe that traveling can do more for you out than therapy when it comes to changing your perspective and your horizons and changing your life. So maybe for some of you, that is what's going on for you. You're traveling and it's really changing your emotional and mental health. Or you're just learning more about something. You're getting the information that you need to unlock something mentally or emotionally. It can also be that something in your life is coming to an end. Maybe for some of you, that's a relationship because Venus is domicile here in the seventh house and the full moon is in the sector of endings. Some of you could be ending a connection. Some of you could actually be beginning a connection behind the scenes, so a secret relationship. You could be connecting with someone but keeping it private, or your relationship could be developing, but again, you're keeping it private with this full moon. It's something that you want to keep to yourself for now, or it could be that someone doesn't have to be a romantic connection. Someone is revealing something to you that surprises you. It wasn't seen, you weren't aware of it, but maybe you were on a psychic level, Scorpio, but it could be that some sort of connection is revealing something to you. But for others of you, it can be that a relationship is ending, or it can be that something is revealed within an existing relationship as well. And the key here is to see the bigger picture with Jupiter in the ninth house. So for some of you, you could absolutely be traveling. I think you could be feeling very intensely about relationships right now, Scorpio. With Venus being in your seventh house of relationships in a square to your modern ruler Pluto in the fourth, maybe there's some tension between a partner and family, or tension with a partner and a living situation, or maybe even some sort of tension or even just fear when it comes to legal matters surrounding a property, Scorpio. And your fears can be illuminated with a full moon in the 12th house. And as I said in the intro, you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So maybe you're being made aware of some stuff that you need to look at, Scorpio, in order to move forward. The 12th house tends to bring what's hidden to the light for better or worse. But I do think with Jupiter being exalted in the ninth, Venus being domicile in the seventh, I think it's for the best. Let's get you a tarot card, Scorpio. See what we get. We have the Fool. Beautiful. It's all about new beginnings. And I noticed that the Lovers is at the bottom of the deck. So maybe for some of you, new beginnings in your love life, taking a risk, taking a chance on love, or, feeling free from a relationship that was restrictive, or getting some freedom, getting some space from your connections if you feel like you need that, even if it's only a little temporary uh, private solo retreat that you're doing. I feel like the Fool is about embracing new energy and trying something different, Scorpio. So with the Fool here, you're letting go to embrace new beginnings and more carefree energy. That's what I have for you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hi, Sagittarius. Welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Libra. So, Sagittarius, this full moon is highlighting your 11th house of friendships, of social networks, of teams, groups, memberships that you have. So, this could be a very social full moon for you. You could have an event to go to, a party to go to, you could be networking. With Venus being domicile in the sixth house as the dispositor of this full moon, you may be socializing with your coworkers. You may be socializing with people that you have a shared interest with when it comes to fitness. So, if you're part of a gym, if you're part of a fitness community, there can be events going on with those people, or there can be events happening with your coworkers. It's really highlighting your connection to your coworkers, your friendships, your social relationships with people that you work with or people that you are seeing on a daily basis or seeing quite frequently. These are being highlighted at this time. So maybe there are social events happening for you, Sagittarius, with these people around the time of this full moon. But it's complicated because Venus is in a square to Pluto in the third house, which can be an energy of rumination. You could be ruminating on your social interactions a little bit, or maybe you're finding them a little bit triggering. And a big reason for that, Sagittarius, is that this full moon forms a T square with your ruling planet Jupiter in the eighth house. So it feels complicated. Whatever's going on for you in your social relationships, there's a bit of a triggering energy here that I think may be exposing a pattern to you. So there may be somebody in your social circle, a friend, a team member, someone who is highlighting a complicated pattern within you. Maybe past trauma, maybe patterns pertaining to relationships prior to you, or it's highlighting a complicated dynamic that you're experiencing right now. And this full moon is saying, okay, what can we do to balance this? What needs to change? What do we need to do? And what do we need to look at? Especially if this is something that you're dealing with secretly and it's ruminating on your mind quite a bit, Sagittarius. This can really highlight that pattern. So it can highlight complicated matters when it comes to friendships, but also when it comes to your love life with the fifth house being activated here in this T square as well. So feelings can be a little bit all over the place at this time for you when it comes to your social connections. You could be feeling a little bit confused, or things might feel bigger than they are, Sagittarius, to you. You know, it might feel as though you're looking at something and it just feels larger than usual, or it just feels like you can't look away. And that's because it's part of a maybe a longer storyline for you. It's part of a pattern, it's part of a past trauma, maybe pertaining with Cancerian energy here to family. So maybe someone in your social circle is triggering a relationship you had to a parent, or they're triggering a pattern that you've experienced when it comes to intimate connections. Whatever the case may be, it may feel at this time, Sagittarius, like there's a lot going on socially. And while a lot of it can feel frivolous and exciting, it can also feel like it is exposing a bigger story in your life as well, Sagittarius. So this could be a very social time. It can highlight your feelings when it comes to a friend or a team member or the communities that you're a part of, and maybe an older storyline that's running beneath the surface. And this full moon is wanting to bring your attention to it so that you can transform. Because don't forget, you're transforming a lot. Your ruler is going through the eighth house and has been since June last year and will be until June this year. So you're going through very profound transformation, Sagittarius, at this time. And it just so happens this full moon is highlighting those things through the lens of other people. Let's get you a tarot card, Sagittarius. This can also sometimes be where people are leaving a team, or a team member is going somewhere, or people are entering your teams or your friendships or your groups, or you're ending a friendship, or you're changing a friendship, you're developing a friendship. Your tarot card is the Knight of Swords, Sagittarius. So very full steam ahead. Something could be moving quite quickly in your life. There could be very blunt communication, very swift communication. And you could also be dealing with air sign people at this time. You know, Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini people could be very significant to you at the time of this full moon. And you may be in conversations with these people. That's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Capricorn, welcome to your horoscope for the Libra full moon. So, Capricorn, this full moon is happening in your 10th house, and This would tend to be one of your favorite houses because Capricorn is the sign associated with the 10th house. And with this full moon happening in your Libra 10th house, you may very much be experiencing something profound when it comes to your career or your public image. Now, the dispositor of this full moon is Venus in the 5th house. So, in terms of what you may be making public, you could be making a romance public. You could be even meeting somebody through work romantically. It could also be that you are displaying your creative talents or hobbies, or you're being recognized for your creative talents or hobbies, Capricorn. You're very much in the spotlight here, and you could be making announcements about your children as well with the 5th house, or you could have a child that's making an announcement in their life. Maybe there's something that they're being recognized for. Maybe success in an exam or a job accomplishment. But I feel for most of you, Capricorn, it really feels at the time of this full moon that something that you are good at is being displayed, or there's something that you're excited about that you want to put out there, or you want to be recognized for, or that's happening organically. Feels as though you're very in the spotlight at this time. So there can be promotions, there can be job changes, there can be changes with your boss, changing with your working relationships as well, Capricorn, because we have this T square with Jupiter in the 7th house, which is about relationships generally. This can be business relationships, this can be working relationships, this can be client relationships. It can also be your significant other if you have one. So maybe there's a lot going on for you professionally, career wise, or a lot going on for your partner, career wise or professionally. And it's bringing a bit of tension within the relationship. Maybe it's difficult at this time to balance your career, your family, your home, and your partnership. And you're maybe feeling pulled in multiple directions. I also feel with Venus being in the 5th house, for a lot of you, there is a romantic element to this. So maybe it's about making something public and you and your partner are deciding if you want to be public in your relationship or you want to talk about what's been going on for you. Maybe for some of you, that's, a separation. Maybe for some of you, that's an engagement. Maybe for some of you, it's about marriage. There can be tension between a living arrangement and your significant other or your relationships generally that also includes your career. So as I say, Capricorn pulled in multiple directions. I also feel like there's maybe some sort of there's tension when it comes to your money and your values and your love life also, or your children. So maybe there's some sort of tension with a child over money. Maybe there's some sort of tension in a romantic relationship when it comes to values as well with Pluto and Venus. This full moon is bringing everything out into the open, though. It's not easy to hide anything under a full moon in the 10th house. But I do often find that one can be recognized for what they're good at this time. And it certainly looks like Capricorn, that could be happening for you. Your talents could be recognized, your natural skills and ability, your creativity, all of that could be recognized at this time. Let's get you a tarot card, Capricorn, and see what is coming up for you. We have the King of Pentacles. Amazing. That's a great one for you because that is your energy. So I think a lot of you are finding success at this time, being recognized for your achievements, your career, your goals, your passions. Maybe for some of you, this is about financial improvement. Maybe some of you are feeling very motivated financially. But it can also be that an earth sign in your life, so a Taurus, a Virgo, or another Capricorn, is highlighted at this time as well. They're a significant player in your life at this point, Capricorn. But I do think a lot of you are going to be reaching some sort of success or goal at this time. That's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi, Aquarius. Welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Libra. Aquarius, this full moon is happening in your 9th house. And this can be highlighting matters pertaining to travel, to vacation, to higher education. If you've been taking exams, if you've been studying, if you've been at university or college, maybe some of you are graduating, maybe some of you are getting exam results. This full moon is highlighting all those different things. It can also be highlighting matters pertaining to visas, passports, legal documentation, especially when it comes to foreign lands. Libra. So that might apply to some of you. I do think this could be for quite a few of you to do with visas or legal matters pertaining to your home and residency. Because Venus is domicile here in the 4th house. Venus is the dispositor of this full moon. So when we have the 9th house and the 4th house connected, for people that can often represent relocation.
Aquarius. So maybe some of you are actually relocating, you're moving abroad, you're buying a property abroad. Maybe you're just simply buying a property. Maybe there are changes in your living situation. Entirely possible for April, by the way, with Uranus wrapping up its time in the fourth. There could be last minute, unexpected changes, shakeups, or liberation when it comes to property, home, family matters. This can also be that some of you are traveling with family or traveling to see family, or family are traveling to see you. It can be that people from abroad are coming to stay in your home. So if you have friends from a different country, they're coming to visit you in your home space. And you could feel a little bit of tension about this because you're trying to figure out how this works with what you're transforming personally, Aquarius. So maybe there's a little bit of tension between home, property, family matters, and you. You might have to address some sort of power imbalance or some sort of fear or some sort of obstacle when it comes to your living situation and what you're experiencing physically. So that could be for some of you, maybe I'm just going to give an abstract example, but you're having to relocate while you're very heavily pregnant and you're thinking, how am I going to nest and take care of my physical body while I'm changing my living situation, that type of thing. You could find that maybe the stresses of home or family changes are taking a toll on you physically. So maybe some of you are feeling a little bit under the weather. But nevertheless, Libra, Aquarius, I think a lot of you could be with this full moon in Libra, relocating, traveling with family. Some of you could be studying from home. You could be setting up a home office so that you can further your studies or develop your work as well, Aquarius. But it does seem to be that there may be legal matters or travel matters pertaining to home, family, and that type of thing. Now, the T square between the 3rd and the 9th, so there can be tension when it comes to information. That's coming into this T square with Jupiter in the 6th house, which is to do with your health and your work. So some of you are finding that maybe your travel arrangements or needing to travel is disruptive to your work or disruptive to your well-being, as I mentioned before. This could be unexpectedly having to travel for work or having to relocate for work or having to move and change jobs all at the same time, or maybe you're getting a promotion or there are developments in your working life, Aquarius, and you're finding that you feel pulled in multiple different directions when it comes to being here, there, and everywhere, having to show up for work, but also having to show up in this place for this person and this place for another person, and then there's people staying with you. There can be multiple things going on at this time, Aquarius, that feel quite busy. But I do feel for you that this is a positive full moon. It is in a fellow air sign. So maybe for some of you, you feel like getting away from work is exactly what you need, getting out of the house is what you need, or spending time with people abroad can really help you see a bigger picture on a situation that was a little too close to home. Let's get you a tarot card, Libra, and see what comes up for you. I mean, Aquarius. I don't know what. I keep calling you Libra because I'm looking at that Libra full moon there up in the ninth. I know you're in Aquarius, so don't worry. Aquarius, what does this full moon in Libra mean for you? We have the King of Pentacles. You got that for Capricorn, and I have shuffled, I promise. So there is maybe an earth sign person showing up in your life. I'm noticing that the Knight of Wands is at the bottom of the deck. So this could be who you're traveling to see or someone traveling to see you. It could be Aquarius that you are traveling for work or there is some sort of expansion in your work life with Jupiter there in the sixth, or you have some sort of accomplishment that you're achieving at this time. But I do think for some of you, this could be traveling for work or traveling for um, the sixth house can be health as well, but just having to incorporate travel into your day-to-day routines. That is what I have for you, Aquarius, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Pisces, welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Libra. Pisces, this full moon is happening in your 8th house, and this is a very intense house, so you may be feeling quite intensely at this time, especially because Venus is in a square to Pluto. And Venus is the dispositor of this full moon. So you might notice that there are a lot of feelings coming to the surface. You could feel quite intensely about something or someone in your life, maybe even a little bit obsessively about something or someone. Venus being in the 3rd house square Pluto, thinking obsessively, ruminating, being very fixated on something that is on your mind. And this could be to do with an intimate relationship. This could be to do with money, but it feels as though you may be thinking quite intensely about these matters. Because the full moon is illuminating the 8th house, and the second house, there can absolutely be big moments pertaining to money, shared resources, finances, inheritances, mortgages. There could be information coming to the fore about finances that is important for you at this time. With the square to Jupiter, this could be about financial risks that you take or you don't take. It can also be to do with children, so child support, matters pertaining to your children financially could be coming up at this time as well if you have them. But it can also just be with the fifth house, your creativity and what you're doing to get where you want to go, how you're being creative in your financial life. So that would translate to taking risks financially. And this full moon is illuminating what you want to do. Do you want to go for that mortgage? Do you want to invest in this? Do you want to join forces with your partner financially? All these different things can come up at this time, Pisces. It can also feel in terms of romance because there is the square from the fifth to the eighth. You're really focusing on what you can and cannot get from your love life, what you are or are not getting from your love life at this time. The fifth house and the eighth house are quite intimate houses. So this might be where you are looking at your intimate relationships from a lens of, is this enough? Is this going to work out? Am I getting what I need? That can be something that's highlighted at this time as well. Pisces. I do think for some of you with the full moon in the eighth and Venus as the dispositor in the third house, you could be spending money on a car. This could be to do with car insurance. This could be to do with money that you need to spend in a car because of something that you didn't know with Pluto in the 12th house. This could be that you are investing money into a car, getting a payment plan for a car, buying a car, selling a car. These different things can come up as well. The eighth house is also to do generally with transformation, the shadow work that you're doing, Pisces. So for some of you, you could really be transforming the way that you think for the better, especially if you have been ruminating on something. This full moon might help you get clarity on why or what you need to do in order to address it. But for sure, for a lot of you, this could be bringing up financial matters, insurances, taxes, mortgages, loans, and that type of thing. Could be very much at the forefront of your mind, Pisces, with this full moon. Let's get you a tarot card. The Fool. Nice. I think Scorpio had this as well. The Fool is about new beginnings. It's also about taking risks. I think some of you, and I'm not advising you whether to do this or not, but with the eighth house and the fifth house being at the forefront of this T square, some of you could be wanting to take a risk, to take a leap of faith when it comes to finances or when it comes to investing or when it comes to love and connecting and intimate connections. Maybe some of you are wanting to just go for it with the Fool being here, and it may involve facing a fear. You could be facing a fear at this time for sure, Pisces. And you could be closing out a chapter of intense shadow work and maybe seeing the results of it in terms of how you think with Venus being domiciled in the third house. Any transformation that you've been doing on the inside, particularly psychologically, will be showing on the outside, but it'll be showing very much in how you think and how you process information. And it can also be that you are getting information that you need in order to make decisions and take leaps of faith, Pisces. That is what I have for you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.